Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 362. I don't want to turn back. Interview with Client Wendy. Well, hello. Welcome to the podcast. You guys are in for a very, very special treat. I had the delightful experience to have my client Wendy on the podcast today. And I had to title the podcast episode off of one of the things that she shared during this interview. I asked specifically what she does in the moment that she has an urge for alcohol. And this is one of her thoughts that she shared. I don't want to turn back. So you have to tune into this episode and hear all of the brilliance that Wendy shared about her journey with changing her relationship with alcohol. And I think that you will find a lot of similarities in her story with yourself. And I really want you to understand that sometimes you are so close to getting to where you want to go with your relationship with alcohol, but you can't quit before you get there, okay? It literally could be right around the corner like it was with Wendy. All right, my friends, so I hope you enjoy this episode, and I want you to come to my free Dry January class on December 29th. Go to angelamascenik.com/dry January class 2026. The link is in the show notes. All right, enjoy the episode. Hi, Wendy. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, hi, Angela. It's so great to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited you said yes.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So I gave a little intro at the beginning of the podcast, but why don't you just let them know who you are, tell a little bit about yourself, and we can jump in.
Okay, great. Well, hello, listening audience. I'm glad you tuned in. Angela's podcast is amazing, and I have gotten so much out of it. Angela knows this. I've been working on my relationship with alcohol for a really, really long time, like years and years. And there've been times where it's worked and times where I've kind of given up, and I just really needed, I think, to try something new. And about 15 months ago or so, I found all these like things that existed on the internet that weren't there the last time I gave working on my relationship kind of a real solid
Mhm.
go, and it was just so great to find those resources. And I felt hopeful that maybe trying a different tact
Mhm.
might really work for me this time. So I want to like say to the listening audience, if you're feeling kind of stuck or like change really isn't possible for you, I'm here to tell you it is.
Mhm.
It you may not think so, but really truly, if you engage and do the work and get the support of the community, it can transform your life.
That's so wonderful. Thank you, Wendy. Why don't you give them a little snapshot of what your relationship with alcohol was like before like the 15 months ago?
Oh,
How much were you drinking?
oh,
I know it's hard to like look at that, but I think it'd be so helpful
yeah,
to see that.
yeah. I've learned to be a little bit more honest and vulnerable the last few months. I was pretty much a daily drinker,
Yeah.
um, most of it by myself.
Mhm.
Um, so it just became such an ingrained habit, and my brain circuits were so wired to just have that thing at the end of the day at 5 o'clock that your brain can tell you a lot of BS.
Yeah.
It's like,
What
um,
was some of the BS that would tell you like why you needed it or what your
yeah, well, so I'm retired now, but while I was working, it was, I need to unwind. I need to transition from work to home.
Mm,
Um, I'm kind of lonely.
mm,
And, I just, it was kind of like a reward for getting through another day at work because I wasn't really enjoying my work at that point. And, just having to, drop the work and then try to be sort of a different person at home. I'm not a great transitioner.
yeah,
And it just kind of kind of dysfunctionally made me think that that's how I smooth things.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so I think some of those motivations. I also learned about 15 months ago that I have ADHD.
Mm,
I got a diagnosis because my son had been diagnosed,
mhm,
and that, ADHD brains really crave dopamine.
yeah,
And so I'm sure, neurobiologically, there was a reason that alcohol was appealing, apart from like whatever reasons and self medication I was doing. And so, but again, it can be a big boost, but then there's the kind of crash later. So it's just a very boom bust cycle that, it doesn't work for people in
right,
the
yeah. You're not the only one. I have other clients who have been diagnosed with ADHD later in life. And your mind, I don't know if this is similar for you, but and so I notice this in myself as well, but there's a lot of distractions, right? A lot of like lists and things constantly running of what we have to do when we get sidetracked and it bounces back and forth. And when you have that using alcohol, we doing it probably unconsciously back then, but to quiet some of that,
Oh,
right? And
yeah,
to keep yourself
absolutely.
refrain from constantly thinking about it
Right,
all. Yeah.
right.
Or
Well, a
feeling
lot of
behind or feeling
high
like you haven't done enough or whatever it is.
right, and ruminating about the day and how
Yes.
things didn't go like I wanted to, or I didn't get enough work done, or I frickin' lost my office keys again for like the 5th time that day. It's like,
Right.
yeah, all kinds of like small aggravations and yeah, and just like the mind constantly
Mhm,
worrying.
mhm, mhm. Yeah. So how long did you do that? Like, was it like a 20-year relationship or 30 years?
Well, I would say, it probably was like 2 decades plus relationship with almost daily drinking habits. I mean, kind of interrupted with, shorter, like go a few days kind of thing. But of course, that was all white knuckling and, was just sheer willpower. And of course, that doesn't work. I
Mhm.
now know. But yeah, it was over 2 decades.
Yeah. So 15 months ago, you decide, okay, I'm going to give this another go. I'm going to find some alternative resources. And you found the podcast, or what happened?
Um, yeah, I think partly as I was, telling myself I really need to find a different approach because all, all my times trying to moderate or be sober for longer stints,
Mhm.
um, I did it by myself.
Oh.
And it just, I realized I needed like more scaffolding, more guidance.
Mm,
And, I I quit like telling myself this BS, like you can do it by yourself,
mm,
or I don't need anything else. Um, and oh, things will get better. But then, finding myself at the end of the day still in the same pattern. And I just said, I gotta try something different, and I gotta be willing both to invest myself, both financially, because I hadn't wanted to do that before,
mm.
but also kind of emotionally, and not kid myself anymore that I really needed to do some work, like
Yeah.
serious work. I never did like real mindset work
Yeah.
until started, just the last few months.
Yeah. 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 That's a huge awareness. right? Like,
Yeah,
so many people don't want to do that because first of all, there's so much shame associated with it. And it's like, I've done this is my problem. I can figure this out on my own. And asking for help reveals that there's a problem, right? And
right.
there's so much shame about this that we don't want to say that because that feels hard, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And you have to like
totally.
be honest. That means you have to be honest with it and like all the things, right?
Right,
And
right.
so
Yeah,
many people hold themselves back from that. And but I love somehow you are smart enough to realize that it wasn't
yeah,
working. Like, what is not working? Oh, I've been trying to do this on my own. That is not working anymore or
right.
ever, really.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, for a really long time, and the shame, it was like I carried around this, like, shame cloud with me every day, like,
Mhm.
Is it Linus, the guy in Peanuts? No,
Uh,
somebody. Who else?
I
That
think,
carry has that little
yeah,
cloud.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I just felt
Mhm.
like, I wanted to get out of that. I wanted to clear that shame cloud away.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just couldn't live with it anymore, just feeling so bad about myself.
yeah. Well, I'm glad that you recognized that and got some help. So you joined the smaller group, Stop Over Drinking and Start Living SODSL program back almost a year ago now, right? In
Yeah,
January.
right, January, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And so tell me
and
about
that
that. What did that help you do?
well, just, the workbook and the themes and, really the mindset shifts that you need to make,
Mhm,
was super helpful, and kind of it it made me feel like I had more agency over this process.
mhm,
Um, and, I was doing pretty well, following, making a drink plan and, following it. But things, I don't know, accumulated stress, 2025 has been a pretty difficult year for me for, a lot of different reasons that you know of. And things kind of went off the rails really in August and September. And I I was, of course, very disappointed in myself, and also just sort of grew a little bit kind of alarmed at my about my behavior.
mhm,
And then when I joined, I continued, I joined Alive AF after the SODSL process. And when you and Steph announced this, like, really this sober October challenge, the timing was just perfect for me because I needed to do like something significant to break
mhm,
out of this pattern I had found myself back in.
mhm,
And it was just so fantastic, like the structure that you put together, the daily coaching, there was a lot of community engagement. And I just, every day, I started feeling like, well, maybe I can do this, maybe I'm not a lost cause.
mhm,
And I was pretty proud of myself. I had a nearly perfect record
mhm. Yeah,
responding to the prompts. So there was that kind of like gamification
yes.
aspect that made it kind of fun.
Yeah.
And meeting, the other regular people that posted, learning more about them and actually like feeling some like closeness, even though it was, over the internet and was all computer mediated. It just felt like, there was a real community there.
Mhm,
Um, and seeing them on the calls and being part of those calls, it just was like it wrapped everything up for me. And I ended the month, a lot of people at the end of the month were kind of uncertain about kind of, are you going to continue, making plans, or are you going to try to stay sober? And at first I was like, oh yeah, just get to the end of the month.
mhm,
But by the end of it, I didn't want it to stop. I just was like, it just was so freeing for me. And I
mhm.
was like so proud. I was really proud of myself. But I'm not complacent, and this might not be a permanent thing either.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm experimenting.
Mhm.
And there's been some big breakthroughs as part of it. Dealing with emotionally difficult circumstances and surviving them without drinking. Yeah, that's been pretty empowering for me. And then also these kind of moments of just like sheer joy. I mean, it, I find myself kind of easily tearing up about lots of different things, whether it's like bad stuff or good stuff.
Amazing.
So
Like your essence is coming out, like, right? Like you're experiencing a fully alive experience, right? So like, yes, it's hard and deeply difficult things with, you've shared a little bit about your aging parents and stuff like that. And you get to experience the amazing beauty of your growth and aliveness here, right? So like none of it's getting numbed and all of that is like the alive process.
right, absolutely, not running away from the
Yeah.
difficult ones, but then the happy ones, the joyful ones feel even more intense because a lot of times when those kinds of experiences in the past, I would have just been hung over, you
Right.
know, and
Yeah.
like focusing on my hangover
Right.
rather than what's happening in the moment.
Yeah. So good. I don't know if you read my email. It was a couple days ago where I sent an email out about why people who are where you and I are, like you're still pretty fresh after having significant time of not drinking, but you're noticing how the difference. You're
Yeah,
noticing the difference now versus back then, right?
right,
You can't not see it. Do you feel that way?
right. Oh yeah, I
So, like,
do.
I sent this email, it's like, why we don't like, why I can't stop talking about that difference, and I'm constantly comparing what my life is like now versus what it was like. I'm always making these parallels. Like, people are probably like, "Shut up already about comparing it to how it used to be." I'm like, "I'll never not do that because it is seriously different and so
Yeah,
much better." And it just keeps getting better. And like things just keep happening, like the magic house, all of that. So I sent this email out. It's like the pink cloud experience and the different level of gratitude that you have when you
right.
get to where you are and like where you're going is like it's
Yes.
hard to describe unless you go through this process. Unless you've
Yeah,
been somebody who struggled with numbing, whatever it is, for those decades, and then now you don't, and you get to feel the difference of that, and you've truly changed in that process with the mindset,
right.
learning how to feel your feelings and all of that. And so when you get here, there's nothing like it, I don't think.
I couldn't agree more, and you stated it very well. I mean, even my therapist noticed that I just, you seem to be handling things so much better, and you just seem brighter, and so
Oh,
other people notice it too.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So part of, what I really wanted to touch on is as people who take on the journey of figuring out their relationship with alcohol, we think in our minds, especially when you join a program like a 6-month program or you do private coaching or something, like you kind of like in your mind think, okay, I'll work on this for 3 months. Okay, I'll do this for 6 months. And you want it to be resolved in a certain
Right,
timeline, right? And we don't know how long it's going to take for any certain
right,
person. Like it's just not, everybody is different. And some people you can knock it out in 3 months. Some people it takes 5 years, right? We don't know
right,
what that experience is. And
right,
what I really want to come through in this episode is don't give up until it all comes together. And you've
right.
done that deeper, smaller group coaching program with me, building the foundations, gathering awareness, evaluating your failures, seeing your patterns, like all of that was like groundwork, right?
Absolutely.
And then you had
Yep.
that awareness and then maybe things took a turn for a couple months, but you had that with you, so you knew what it could be like and like what you wanted, right?
Right.
And
Well,
then
and I didn't give up. I mean,
yeah,
even in the midst of it, because other times it's like, oh wait, I can't do this.
right.
But I just, I stayed in the community,
Mm,
and, I had, they reflected on the progress I had made earlier in the year. And, so the change is there.
Right.
You just have to look at it, you can't focus on like the night before
Right.
and how you messed up, but really, do this comparison, gather the data.
Mhm.
And, I can tell you sometimes it takes years and years for all
Mhm.
this stuff to come together.
Mhm.
But it can come together. It
Yeah.
really can.
Yeah.
And I just want to communicate that out there, that people listening, you it's never too late to try to change.
Yeah.
You don't have to give up. You don't have to be discouraged.
Mhm.
You have within you resources that you can't even imagine right now.
Yeah. So good. So good. And I was trying to pull some stories of like maybe authors or celebrities or rock stars that had tried for decades or multiple times submitting book deals or whatever it was, and then they find like after 10 years they submit the
Right.
bestseller, or they finally, and like if had they given up, what we would have missed, right? And this is
Right.
the same type of thing. Like, you don't know when it's going to come together, like the listeners, right? And you didn't
Yeah.
know either. You didn't know that
No.
doing Sober October would lead you now to what, you're on your third month of
Yes.
alcohol
Yeah.
free. Like, that's amazing, right? You didn't
Yes.
know that that one decision was going
No.
to do that, and that it would all kind of come together and you would be on your way, right?
I did not know that. We're not very good at forecasting the
No,
future.
right.
We try, like we
We're really
really,
good at predicting failure
yeah, exactly.
or like misery,
Yes,
right?
right.
Not good at predicting success.
No, that's true. Yeah,
Mhm.
we aren't, especially if we ruminate on the many, many times that we weren't successful.
Yeah.
Then you start to feel like, well, that's my identity. I can't do
Yep.
this. I'm an I'll never be able to modify this relationship I have with this substance that it's just, yeah, it's a pretend thing, right? The things that you think alcohol is giving you, it's not. Your
Right.
brain tells you that, but
Right.
it isn't really giving you those things.
It's true. Yeah. But sometimes you have to get away from it to really see that, right? And give
Oh,
yourself a chance
yeah,
to really give yourself some clarity. And I think that's what I'm hearing coming from you now, is like you have more clarity around what's real
yeah,
for you and your experience. So you want to talk
right.
about that a little bit?
Um, well, definitely because there was just, I had built up these myths in my head, and that sustained my, continuing to do things that I didn't want to do, but found
Mhm.
myself doing.
Mm.
And also I think I just got very clear on there's no substitute for doing the work. A lot there just
Now
isn't.
you
I mean,
sound like Coach Steph. It's just like
yeah,
you have to. Like, a lot of people think, "Oh, I'll join the program, I'll read the book, or I'll listen to the podcast," and absorbing and listening is one thing, but then there's the applying it, right? And
yes.
doing it. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I have like 3 shelves in my, on of books on Quit Lit. I think I, like, read every Quit Lit memoir that's ever been written, but that wasn't enough. You kinda
No.
get inspired for, like, 5 minutes,
Right.
but it was never they often don't contain, like, the and even with, like, a program, if it isn't done kind of in community with others, with ongoing support, it's just not enough. If
Mhm.
it wasn't for me, I should say.
Mhm.
That
Mhm. Mhm.
wasn't enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about what you did do. Like, because I
Oh,
hear all the time, like, people listen to my clients that come on the podcast and they're like, but how did she do it? Like, what specifically does she do on a day-to-day basis that helped her get here? Do you have
oh,
like top things that you generally do on a day-to-day basis that has really made the difference?
for me, I think it's going into the community and encouraging other people,
Yeah.
because it's like encouraging myself. It's
Yes.
it's renewing. it's renewing my commitment to myself. So it isn't like this altruistic thing I'm doing. It's just like, it's it just is very helpful to be in there every day and to read about people's wins, their vulnerability and honesty when maybe they haven't succeeded like they had wanted. Seeing that vulnerability is it's just amazing, the honesty that that you read in
Mhm.
people's posts, and then the pictures or whatever. And then as I like to make these like little graphic things
Yeah.
with inspiring quotes,
Yeah.
so I do that. I'm a pretty crafty person. I'm not. I I'm crafty. I wouldn't say like I'm wildly creative, but I grew up doing like handicrafts.
Mhm.
And for me, it's kind of an outlet. Works your brain,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of that
Mhm.
too. So
Mhm.
that's and I exercise. I try to fairly consistently. It's not a workout. It's not like what you and Coach Steph do. It's mostly just walking. It's just mostly walking, and
Tough.
maybe run up a staircase or two
Mhm.
to get my heart rate up. But
Okay.
being outside,
Mm,
is great. Yeah, nature, green space,
mhm.
and yeah. So those are some parts of my daily routine, I think, that
Yeah.
yeah, help me keep me in it.
Yeah. What about when you have an urge? Like, what are some
Okay.
tactics that you do, like, specifically nuanced things? Like, if your mind tells you it would be a great idea to have a glass of wine,
Yeah.
how do you work through?
Um, well, I try to breathe, and deep breathing.
Mhm.
Um, I tell myself, so I'm having an urge. It's not going to kill me.
Mhm.
um, I have, you know, um, I've managed to get through them.
Mhm.
Um, so building up that, confidence that I
Mhm.
can deal with it.
So, like, if you're having
And
an urge, you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm having an urge, you're not gonna die. You've
right,
experienced this before, you can do it again,"
right.
and connecting with
Um,
your breath.
and I'm better able to kind of understand what the feelings are that
Mhm. Mhm.
produce the urge. For me, I'm kind of tightly wound. So I think it's, kind of sensing in my body, shoulders hunched or whatever. And, that then I know that I probably let my mind spin a little bit about future casting
Mhm.
scenarios I don't have control over, or even sometimes just getting like really excited about something,
Yeah.
because I'm wired that way, kind of an
Mhm.
intense person. And so now understanding and thinking about, okay, what's giving rise to this, and it's it's manageable. I can, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. Those first couple weeks, they're not easy, for
Mhm.
sure, but you develop a little confidence, and then the momentum starts building, and so by the time I finished sober October, the urges just weren't as strong, or what I had developed, coping with them, that made them seem just less intense and more manageable.
Yeah, yeah, and, like, your mindset around the urges sounds like that played an important part, like, not panicking when you had one.
Right. Right,
White
exactly.
knuckling, right? Like, before you mentioned that, like, that was just a white knuckling, holding your breath experience, but now, like, knowing that that wasn't an emergency and that you could handle it by understanding what was loading it in the first place and where you're feeling that in your body and just, like, letting yourself be there.
Mhm. Yep, for sure. Yep. And it does get, I'm just moving location a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, practice
Yeah.
anything. Practicing anything
Yes.
helps. It
Yeah.
it and it's it's creating new circuits to, like, override the old ones that
Yes.
I used to reach for. Yeah.
Did somebody come home?
Yes, somebody came home.
Of course they did.
Sorry about that. I
It's
told
okay.
him I told him, "If you get home before 1:30, um" sorry about that.
That's okay, I think it's awesome, it's real life.
Real life,
I deal
absolutely,
with
it's
this
real
all the
life.
time, like, my I told my hu I had a physician on for the podcast, and my husband decided that he was gonna come home in the middle of the day and then open up the garage door, and then the dogs started barking, and I'm like,
Oh, no.
"Why? Why?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like
It's
you
gonna
said,
be a
it's
moment too, like, this kind of stuff, these unexpected things happen in life, right? Like, somebody interrupts your meeting, somebody something happens that we don't expect, and how you react to that.
right,
Like, is
right.
that different for you now versus what it was before?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Just little things that, could have easily upset my equilibrium, they don't anymore. I
Yeah,
just kind of it's easier to kind of coast through the interruptions without them like totally destabilizing me and getting me into a place. Yeah.
yeah. Well, going back to what we were talking about, so learning how to deal with the urges and accept them and understand them and breathe through them, it sounds like that was a big difference for you.
Yes.
Help you get
Yes.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then anything else during the moment that you're having besides, like, connecting with the urge and breathing through, is there anything else? Like, what do you tell yourself about drinking or not drinking in those moments?
um I guess kind of I don't want to, turn back the page. I want to keep moving forward is one thing I tell myself, that I've come so far, and I uh, I don't I don't want the life that I used to have, you
Mm,
know,
mhm,
um, that things are better. Things are
mhm,
better now, and kind of holding on to that and the reason that they're better now.
mhm,
Um, and you can tell yourself things like, well, um, like I said, I've handled this. I've done this before. You're not going to die.
mhm.
Um, um, and yeah, and so just you're not scared of them. I think you did one podcast on where the fear of the urge is, like, worse than the urge itself or something
Yeah,
like that. And
yeah.
that really spoke to me because it is a sort of the fear that you're gonna have this feeling
Mhm,
is actually worse and than the feeling itself,
mhm.
right? And, the fear of the urge is, what leads you to, to to not not process it, it's like, "I don't wanna have this feeling." Keep it away by, of course, reaching for that glass of wine.
Exactly, or not trying to not do it, right? So, like, people won't
Yeah,
even it's like, "Well, I don't wanna be uncomfortable.
right.
I wanna go to that thing and be uncomfortable, so I'm just gonna put 5 drinks on my drink plan." It's like, "Okay, and what
Yeah,
if it
right,
didn't have to be that terrible?" Right? Like, if
right.
when you really think about processing an urge, it's not
Yes.
the end of like, now, it's like, okay, it's like having a hangover is way worse.
Yes, for
Y
sure.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm trying to work on expanding my discomfort zone, I guess you could call it, to other areas in my life,
Mhm.
because I also realize that my discomfort at other people's discomfort or unhappiness or with me or whatever, that people pleasing urge,
Mhm.
is also part of the issue.
Yeah.
Feeling like I have to manage everybody's feelings and you know, and keep people happy with me. That sort of fear that if I'm really myself, I'll get abandoned. you
Yeah.
know? So that's some harder work that has some like deep childhood roots I'm working on, but I don't think I would have been willing to go there unless I, have demonstrated to myself that I can deal with discomfort in this very important arena of my life that kind of like dictated my life in some ways, and it's not dictating it anymore.
It's so beautiful. Yeah, like your ability to handle the urges built your resiliency to handle some of the bigger stuff.
Yes,
And
precisely.
and be willing and open to exploring that and working on that.
Right. It's not easy to be disliked. No one no one likes to be disliked, but you have to grant other people that like they're adults. They should be able to manage their feelings. I don't need to do that for them.
Yep, absolutely. And I think it's harder to dislike yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like, 'cause we have to live with ourselves every day. And so if you think about what it was like when you were drinking all the time, how the shame,
Yes.
right? That shame
Yes.
that you have is your dislike for yourself is just like I'm wrong, I'm doing this wrong, I suck, all of that, right? I'm
Yeah.
up.
You know,
That dislike is constant and with you all the time. And so I'd
yeah.
rather have somebody temporarily dislike me or even permanently for that matter, if it needs
Yeah,
to happen, right?
that's
Then for me not to
that
like myself because I have to live with myself every single day for the rest of my life.
right. Yeah, and learning self-compassion and
Yeah.
kindness, treating yourself with grace, letting go of perfectionism,
Yeah.
all those things are ongoing challenges or opportunities, I guess,
Mhm.
to grow.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
and
think when
you're,
you get the alcohol out of the way, though, it reveals these types of things that you've been using alcohol to cover up that
oh,
wasn't really the appropriate tool, right? And so,
exactly.
yeah, that's and a lot of people are like, "I don't wanna do all that." And what do you have to say
Yeah.
about that? It's like, good luck changing your relationship with alcohol permanently if we're not really willing to look at that.
Yeah, yeah, and you do have to be honest
Mhm,
with yourself,
mhm,
and like interrogate those ideas that you have, and you have to be willing, to get support if you're finding that doing it by yourself isn't really working for you, then, seek out other things,
mhm,
like the Live AF community. Getting with community it's just really huge. And um, knowing that there's so many other women just like me
mhm,
in the group with the kind of the same issues and challenges, and it's just, I mean, you don't feel alone. You don't feel alone. You're like the only person on this little life raft that's going to be
mhm.
capsized. You know, people got your back,
Yeah.
and they're
It's
and they're rooting for you.
Yeah, yeah, so good. What else do you think that you've done? Anything else we talked about in the moment, urges, setting yourself like when you were talking about the community and sharing and supporting other people in the membership and doing some creative projects and exercising, to me those are like this is how I take care of myself, right? Like that's
Hmm.
the foundation to maybe that helps you not have as many urges or you're giving yourself something that feels good, right? That's good for you. And then the specific details of working through those urges of learning that you don't need to be scared of the urges, understanding the reason why you're having them, thinking it through, all of that. Is there anything else that you feel that you've done or do or practice on a regular basis that helps?
Um, well, I have started to journal a little
Huh?
bit more. I've said, and there are other people like that in the group who we're not good journalers.
Mm,
We and so it was like December has been like a journaling for me, a journaling challenge, and
mhm,
I don't have, I don't hold myself to some lofty standard like I'm going to write 4 pages of self insight every day.
mhm, mhm.
Sometimes it's just like 2 or 3 sentences.
Yeah,
Um, so so I think it's sort of being open to things that maybe I wasn't open to before. You know,
yeah.
and, setting other you know, it's good to challenge yourself.
Mhm,
No, don't be afraid of it, and don't be think you have to be perfect either. I mean,
yeah,
the important thing is to if you didn't do something that you had intended to do, that you just recommit, get right back on the horse.
Mhm.
Um, don't give up.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love that you said you have to be open to doing things you haven't done before, which I say all the dang time, Wendy.
Like I'm going to Portugal and visiting the
Oh
Magic
my God,
House
yes,
by
yes.
myself. I haven't been
Traveled
to
internationally alone before?
I no, I haven't
Oh.
traveled internationally since the middle 2000s, and it was always with someone else.
Mhm,
Or, kind of it was for a conference or something,
mm,
where everything's taken care of for you and you're going to be meeting friends there and stuff like that. Yeah. So this is huge. And
wow,
I've been I put on my Christmas list a bunch of like recommended travel gear, like
yeah,
packing cubes and an eye mask and a power pack, so I have like 20 things on my Christmas list that are
love it,
related to my trip. So
yeah.
those of you out there who are like thinking about it, jump, jump, do it, do it.
I
We can
because the
we
magic house is literally the epicenter of magic.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's such a
It-
cool thing. You also don't if you don't wanna buy one, you don't need to buy a converter, power converter, because 'cause I'll have that in all of the rooms there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
That doesn't make your
oh,
Christmas list, it's okay.
okay, good. Maybe well, it's kind of daunting, like, my husband and my son, they see these like 20 things. Because
Yeah.
usually I never put together a Christmas list, but now
Oh,
I have like a real thing
yeah,
to uh, something to anchor it around.
yeah, yeah.
So
So fun.
cool.
Yeah, so saying yes to things that you wouldn't have considered before. I think that comes with a clear mind too. It's like, okay, I can see the possibility of things, right? I'm gonna I have resiliency to get through this and like to see something different, right? Because it's like
Yep.
very easy to travel internationally if you've never done it before by yourself. Like that can be overwhelming. And we can limit ourselves by the discomfort of the idea of that, right?
Right.
And it's the same
And
with not drinking. We will limit ourselves on the idea that that is so uncomfortable that we won't get to see what that experience is like.
right, exactly. Exactly. And yeah. Just there's all, travel in general, because like I said, I'm not a good transitioner. So it presents some real growth, growth opportunities for me. And who knows, maybe I'll become this like international jet setter person.
Right.
So yeah. I think that's a great way to put it though, because there are definitely trade-offs. It feels safe when you're in your comfort zone, but then, the opportunity cost is that like you said, you don't get these new experiences.
Right. Right.
Um, so, and I tend to be like I kind of am like safety oriented. And so stretching myself in
Mhm.
all kinds of ways
Yeah.
is good for me.
It's so fun. The podcast I did, it was a couple weeks ago, I think. It was about, um, are you mapping towards comfort or are you mapping towards aliveness? Right? So,
Hmm.
like, in my family of origin, like they, especially now that my parents are older, they map towards just avoiding discomfort. Like they just that's literally how they think about everything. That's going to make me uncomfortable, so no. That's going to make me
Right.
uncomfortable, so no. So
Right.
you're saying the opposite of that. You're tracking towards feeling
Yes.
and stretching yourself and knowing that when you say yes to the discomforts, your world opens up.
Yep. I
Like
mean,
you're
maybe sometimes I mean, the experience might not be good, it's a risk. It's a risk, but
totally
yeah, nothing ventured, nothing gained is the old saying
yes,
goes.
yes. Is there anything else you want to share about your experience or you want people to know about a journey of figuring out your relationship with alcohol?
Um, yeah, let's see. Well, I think I'll just reiterate, where I started, which is it's never too late to change.
Mhm.
And there, yeah, it's never too late. Don't give up on yourself. Um, because many times I gave up on myself, and now I understand that I'm worthy as a person to
Mhm.
give myself another try.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
good.
everybody, everybody. is deserves to give themselves another try. You're not hopeless.
Yeah. And it's just it's sometimes it makes me sad that people are so scared or they don't, right? So like
Yeah.
there's probably thousands of women listening to this that are tired of working on it. And they're
Yeah.
tired of doing the work and they're tired of doing all the awareness and like I think about alcohol now more than I thought about it before. I'm sure you've had that thought, right?
Yep, yep. There's definitely that. Especially at the beginning.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. And so what do you want to tell them?
Um, that let's see. Hang in there.
Yes.
Don't Yeah, hang in there. It gets easier. It does. It really does. And it's you don't if you know and you can reframe it. It's not work. It's not, you don't have to think of it as work. You can think
Mhm,
of it as something different, like it's an opportunity.
mhm,
It's a little bit of self-care, but
mhm,
it's like a healthy form I mean, it's not like you're going to, get a massage at $150 an hour.
mhm,
Um, right? It's doesn't really cost you anything, just a little bit of time.
mhm,
And it's just so worth it. Just, to expend a little energy. It'll take less and less over time. Just
mhm.
try to, momentum will come. It really will.
Thank you. Yeah. So don't quit before the getting gets good, right, Wendy?
Exactly, 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 exactly. It does get good. It
It
does get
does.
good.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and come join. Yeah, I just would say, come join us in the live AF.
Yeah,
If you're at that point where you just feel like I'm so tired of this, come into the community. It does make it a lot more fun. Doesn't feel like work really. It's kind of
totally.
like, talking to girlfriends or something.
Yeah.
Really.
And one thing that you do that consistently is getting coached. We didn't talk about that, right? So I know some people inside the community are vulnerable and they don't want to get coaching and they that feels really hard. But you have gotten regular coaching since January of 2020.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
or
And I like
2025, sorry. 2025. And I think that makes a big difference. Like your ability to face a difficulty, right? Or to
Right.
share, I need support in this. What you do really well is you think ahead to difficult situations.
Right.
Like if you're
Right.
traveling, seeing family or whatever, you know that you're going to be in a more challenging, triggering situation. You come on and you get coaching and support for how to show up in the best way,
Right.
for that, right?
Well, and other people get coaching too, and that's really useful as well. I mean,
Yeah.
there's something about being on the call together
Mhm,
with other people. Even if I don't need coaching, there are other people who need coaching, and I learned something from that.
mhm,
Um, so yeah, the coaching is huge.
yeah. And then applying the coaching that you receive
Right.
to your
Right.
life, right? And actually doing what is recommended or what you came to on the coaching call.
Oh yeah, I've gotten all kinds of great advice from both you and Coach Steph that
Mhm,
I apply, visualization, having a protocol for a situation that keeps cropping up so that
mhm.
the next time you're better prepared. I mean, all kinds of great things.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. Okay. Well,
Oh,
we want to encourage people to come to the free Dry January class that I'm having on December 29th. So
yes.
maybe they're new listeners or they're considering about joining the membership. What do you want to tell them about coming to the class?
Well, I came to the Sober October class
Oh,
and and it's what kind of tipped me over the edge into like doing, I mean, because you previewed some of the things and I thought, wow, this sounds really great.
yeah.
So if you've been, there's all kinds of stuff out there about like dry January.
Mhm.
But if you've been, if you have an inkling that you'd like to give it a go, yeah, come to the class at the end of the month and join
Yeah.
us in January because I'm doing it again.
Oh my God, it's gonna be so good. Yeah,
Yeah, because you're so creative. I know you'll come up with things that are just engaging, so engaging.
yeah. Well, cool. Thank you, Wendy. Any last comments, thoughts, sentiments?
Just happy holidays,
Oh,
everyone.
yeah,
I hope you get to experience the joy of the season.
yeah. You too. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Angela. Great to be here again.
Oh my gosh. Are you guys just loving that? Thank you so much, Wendy, for coming on and sharing all of the nuances and details about what this looked like for you and your inspiring, motivating encouragement to listeners to keep on going and to join us for the free Dry January class on December 29th. It will be recorded. All you have to do is go to angelamascenik.com/dry January class 2026 and sign up. And you should come live because that's where all the fun and energy is. And I'm going to give you some of these tools that Wendy is talking about. And I'm going to be sharing the details about the Dry January challenge that we're hosting inside the Alive AF membership, which is the membership that Wendy is in, offering her daily insight and inspirations and beautiful support for the members. All right, my friends, thanks again, Wendy, and we'll talk to you next week.